Welcome in, guys. It's a Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. I'm Jeremy Conn. Appreciate you guys checking this out. Please click the like and subscribe button. If you hit the notification button, it lets you know every time one of these gets posted. I was talking about it the other day. We have the concrete inner circle. If you text inner circle to this number, you can find out more about that. It's a rated system. Yesterday was the first day, I think, in the past 6 that I didn't have a winning day. I technically, and my plays, I think I went 1-2 yesterday. And I would sit here and say I had the Dodgers under, and the frustrating part about that game was if you stayed up late and watched it or caught the highlights in the morning, that one of the Reds relievers was tipping his pitches, and the Dodgers picked up on it real quick, and that kind of turned the tide. So that's why we don't see the Dodgers playing on Thursday. We did have 3 elimination games on Thursday as everybody went 1-1. Sorry, I just kicked over my water. Went 1-1. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about 3 football games on Friday night. One of which I do, I like one of these games a lot. And then I'm going to preview a little bit of the NLCS, ALCS outlook, because there's a couple things I want to tell you, and we'll talk about the Dodgers-Phillies game 1 since we know who the starters are, and I did look up the weather, although not a huge impact except for how, I want to say how cold it is, but considering baseball standards, how cold it is. So a couple other things to get into. On Thursday, I was on the Cubs under. I was on the Yankees under. I loved the over in the Rams game, and I think I kind of got screwed on that because I wanted to get everything up early, and I got it up early, and I gave it out at 47.5 or 46.5, and now it's at 45.5. But I still like it. I think we see a ton of points in the game. I was talking about prop bets. Puka Nacua, the guy has in 4 games he has over 500 yards. He has 50 targets and 42 receptions. And his receiving yards prop was like 95.5. I can't believe it's not over 100 because it might even be one of the more popular bets. I still hammered it because the guy gets so many targets and he easily can break one. So one of those could become a 60-yarder just like that. So I did take him over. I really liked, I think, Kyron Williams and Puka for an anytime touchdown. I like Kendrick Bourne's over yards receiving. Had him for an anytime touchdown. And the other thing I was on was Sacred Heart in college. So just full disclosure, guys, this will be a short one. I know that's usually the kiss of death for me, as I feel like I've been recording since 5 a.m. this morning, as everything's just been jumping on one after another. And as I told you guys, when I'm recording this, today is my anniversary, so I will be heading out, and my wife and I are going to have a good time tonight. I think she just woke up. So my wife is an overnight nurse at Hopkins. She's labor and delivery, so she delivers babies. So that 7 to 7 schedule overnight, and now she's going to try to sleep. What'd you get, 5 hours maybe? So anyway, I digress. I'll get away from that. Let's get into these games and talk a little bit about what I'm seeing. So we start off with baseball, and on Saturday we have the Dodgers at the Phillies. Winds blowing out at like 4 or 5 miles an hour, so there's no great help there, but it obviously doesn't hurt the offense. The thing that interests me is it's going to be 53 degrees in Philly, or at least that's what it's projected to be right now. I will double check it again tomorrow and then again on Saturday morning, and I'll post the results from the weather algorithm. I'm just wondering how much the weather algorithm is going to be a big help outside of this Philly series, because all 3 of the other games, the series when they start, they're going to start in domes. Seattle, Toronto, and Milwaukee. So the weather won't be a factor unless they open it, and I don't assume they will at this point of the year. But we get Shohei Ohtani versus Christopher Sanchez. And the one thing I've said about Sanchez is I feel like he's been one of the more, it's hard to call him underrated because people know about him now, but how was he not on the All-Star team to start with? You look at some of the things that happened and went on. He's been arguably their best pitcher. And if Zach Wheeler was still, pitching, I think this is his game 1. There's no question about it. But it's kind of a nice little hat tip to Christopher Sanchez with Jesus Luzardo. You would have pitched him over Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola is still okay, but he's not what he used to be. So I think the under is a great play here. I'm more than likely going to be on it. Everybody's going to look at offense and think that they're going to go off. And outside of some of those dome games, and we're going to see good pitching. I don't know how much I'm going to be on overs when they're playing Philly in Philly, unless we see some of those spots where the matchup is too good to pass up. Because my assumption is game 2, you're getting Jesus Luzardo, unless they want to pitch Aaron Nola. at home, but I don't think that's the case. I think Nola starts in L.A. in that first game, but we'll see. But I do think the under is a good play. Let me get to some of these college games. And again, it's not a great night for college football. I do think there are some good plays, though. Let's start it off with Western Kentucky at Delaware. Delaware's favored by 2.5. 61.5 is the total. I've had a chance to check out Delaware a couple of times. They score points. And I think they're going to continue to do that in this game against Western Kentucky. I think we see a ton of points. There's a reason why that total is over 60. And I feel like people are shying away from it, and they shouldn't be. This is going to be a fast-paced game. My lean here in Western Kentucky and Delaware is going to be on the over. Spend a little bit more time on this game here, New Mexico at San Jose State. And as I'm looking at it, 58.5 is the total. San Jose State minus 2.5. I don't think New Mexico, either one. Like, I don't think those teams are, what we call them, good. I think this is a really good spot for San Jose State to pick up a win. The fact that it's under a field goal makes me even more interested in it because, look, winning games in situations like this, it does have a high total. The one thing you look at field goals and touchdowns, the 3s and 7s all the time, especially if there's a chance for overtime. I know different scores can happen. You can't predict how it's going to play out. But, I agree with, I was talking to Mark Zeno today. I agree with what he said about, and it's something I do, it's game theory. It's you basically putting together a game script in your mind of how you think it plays out, the type of scoring you think you'll see. Now, is it an exact science? No. But I use this for daily fantasy as well because, again, so if I think one team gets ahead and they're going to blow out the other team, right? So maybe I like the quarterback and wide receivers from that team. Maybe I'm taking the running back, especially a pass-catching running back on the other side, if I feel like they're going to be dinking and dunking their way to try to get back into it. I've talked about this, things that correlate together. The running back and the defense, they correlate in daily fantasy. So I try to use game theory and look at games and see how they're going to unfold. And each time I look at this, I see San Jose State winning. So if you want to play them on the money line, feel free. I still think they cover the 2.5. You can call San Jose State a freemium if you want because I know I'm going to be on them, but one of my favorite plays on Friday. Let's get to Colorado State at San Diego State, and this is going to be the free play. San Diego State's minus 5.5. The total here is 40.5. Good God, man, a 40.5 total in a college football game, and it's not like Navy versus Army in cold weather situation. This is just ugly. It feels like an Iowa total. 40.5. I don't care how ugly it looks. These teams are plotting teams. They're going to have issues scoring. I think San Diego State wins this game, but I definitely think this game goes under the total. My free play in this college football game is going to be under the total of 40.5 in Colorado State and San Diego State. A couple things, guys, I want to point out. Make sure you're heading over to pickdawgz.com. You can find out all the different things that we're offering over there. I've talked about it. I've been on a heater in the concrete inner circle that I talked about earlier. I had a 1 and 2 day, or was it? Yeah, 1 and 2 day. But because it's a rated system, my one play was rated as highly as the other two, so it ended up being a push for me. So I had 6 winning days in a row, and then that one where it was a tie essentially. On the site, I had I was 1 and 2. I put up a triple play, and I had the Dodgers under. I had Detroit, so that was a tough one. And then, of course, we won the Cubs under, which has been solid to us this whole series. And going back to the well in Game 3 as everybody keeps betting overs, and I don't get it. Maybe people don't look at the weather or think it has the impact that it should, but it's definitely a way to find an edge, especially when it gets really hot and when it gets really cold. There's a huge edge to be had. Wind blowing in, wind blowing out, all those things. So, but I was talking to somebody else about this. So in the WNBA, I've killed it in the playoffs. I think I have 1 loss in the entire postseason in the WNBA. I'd have to go back and look at it, so don't hold me to it, but I definitely won a ton of games, including 2 totals of the month and a game of the month, as there were some spots that I just loved. And then if you're looking at football, I'm up near the top. I got hitting it 65% in the NFL, so definitely check me out in the NFL, even if it's just watching the video here when we do the NFL video on Saturday for Sunday, so you'll be able to see that Sunday morning. I love the NFL slate this week. I really like the college slate, but not quite as much as the NFL, although I think there are some great spots to bet. And when I say I love the NFL slate, it's more games. Like in college, when I'm going through and I'm picking out my top 5, I usually have 8 or 9 plays, and then I figure out which ones I want to be my top 5. this week, as I was mapping it out, I have 6 college games that I have circled right now. Now I'm going to dive more into the slate today and tomorrow and so on. But looking at the NFL slate, I had way more plays, and there's obviously way less games. So I did think the NFL this week was going to be a nice one to attack, at least that slate. And then you get a home dog on Monday Night Football. You get Buffalo in their whiteout on Sunday Night Football. So a lot of great spots. One of the things I want to mention, we talked about the Ravens game yesterday, and they said Lamar Jackson was week to week, and he's actually doubtful or questionable for this game. I don't know what tag they put on him yet. I'll check the injury report when it comes out later on Thursday. I don't think he's playing. I think it still stays at that 1.5. I've been talking about this. We had a writer on that's covered the Houston Texans for a long time. And the first thing out of his mouth when we had him on was, how the hell are the Texans favored? And I don't care who's quarterbacking for the Ravens. They've played one good quarter of football the entire season. That's a guy that covers the team. And it's an interesting spot for the Ravens here. And I know a lot of people, it's going to be a vomit button for them to push. But I do think that's going to be one of the more intriguing games of the weekend. And I don't think Houston is good. Another thing that I saw is the New Orleans Saints have not had a snap this season where they led in a game after the next possession. So meaning anytime they've taken a lead, they've given it right back, I believe. I believe that's how it went. But anyway, the fact that they aren't very good and they're favored over the Giants should tell you a lot as well. So, but I'll be back tomorrow with a college football slate. We'll go over the games. I'll be back on Saturday to post the weather algorithm. Jesus, if I can talk. Weather algorithm results. We won't have anything for this slate regarding baseball. Just because once the elimination games happen, we have to see how they stack them up on Saturday and Sunday. But appreciate you guys watching this. Hope you win some cash, and I'll be back tomorrow with a college football show.